everyone, I'm Dr. Raksha, an Ayurvedic gynecologist and a certified yoga practitioner at Aikya Fertility and Research Center, Bangalore. Let's talk about fertility yoga. Fertility yoga may be for you if you are currently trying to conceive and looking to boost your fertility or want to prepare your body for a future pregnancy. The stress relieving properties of the fertility yoga are thought to have helped many women fall pregnant. Stress has a huge impact on your ability to conceive, and the yoga is proven to be an effective form of relaxation. By regularly practicing yoga with moves that bring specific benefits, you may experience more success when trying for a baby. Let's look into few poses which boost fertility. To do this pose, bend your knees and feet on the floor, and now take the feet to the outer edge of your yoga mat. The feet will be about 2 feet apart. Spread your arms out to the sides with your palm facing up. Lift the hips and shift them slightly towards the left. Then allow the knees to drop slowly towards the right, and the left knee drops and touch the ground. The knees can come all the way to the floor if your ribcage and back allow. Turn the head to look back towards the left palm. Take several slow and even breaths. On an inhale, bring the knees back to the center and do the twist on the other side. The benefits: twists like this are cleansing and rejuvenating for the organs such as uterus, intestines, ovaries, which are present in the abdominal and pelvic area. Twist improves the blood circulation to all these organs. The next pose is cat-camel pose, which is also known as Marjarasana. To start with the cat-camel pose, come on to your hands and knees with your wrist underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hip. Spread the fingers wide apart from each other. Your knees should be about 4 to 6 inches apart. On an inhale, tilt your tailbone up and arch your back. Look forward and draw the shoulders back away from the ears. Keep your core engaged as you arch the back. On an exhale, tilt your tailbone down towards the floor, round your spine, press the shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Repeat at least 5 times, initiating each movement at the tailbone. Allow the movement to follow the breath. Benefits of cat-camel pose. This pose warms up all the muscles in the back and allows the tension in the neck and shoulders to release. It also opens the major energy channels in the front and back of the body. The pelvic movements bring good blood flow and energy through the pelvis. The next variation in the cat-camel pose is the cat-camel circles. So you can make a circular motion with this pose. So here the movements are: circle the hips and the rib cage around to the right, bending the elbows as much as you need to. This is a very free form movement, so just do what feels good to your body. You may get some forward and backward movements as well as the circling. Don't forget to breathe while performing these circles. After a few breaths, switch the direction. The benefits: the circling motion releases the tension in the pelvis, rib cage and shoulders. Helps us to release physical and emotional stress from the body. The next pose is child pose. For this, from the hands and the knees position, place the hip back onto the heels. Keep the toes together. Bring the forehead to the floor and reach the arms forward with the palm facing down. Here, the child pose is a resting pose. So, in the standard version of child pose, you are resting here rather than moving. To keep up from the child pose, just walk the hands back in towards the body and come up slowly. You can do few variations. Try a couple of variations of child pose that includes some movements. In variation number 1, in child pose, gently and slowly move the hip side to side, stretching out each side of the low back. In variation 2, on exhale, creep the hands over the right side of the mat or even past the mat until you get a stretch in the left side of the body. On an inhale, creep the hands back to the center, and on the next exhale, repeat the pose on the left side. Benefits: child pose is known for its calming effect, which is due to resting the forehead down. It also stretches and releases the low back and opens the shoulder. The next pose is Parvatasana. From the hands and knees position, take an inhale and engage the muscles of the arms. Relax the space between your shoulder blades. Exhale, curl your toes under and lift your knees off the floor. Lift the hips and draw the low abdomen up and back. Press strongly through the hands and draw energy from the hands up the arms. Your heels may or may not touch the floor. If you feel a lot of stretch in your hamstrings, bend the knees slightly, allowing the back to lengthen. Stay here for 3 to 5 breaths, feeling the whole body stretch and lengthen. Then inhale, bend the knees and return to the hands and knees position. Don't do this pose if you're on your period. The benefits: Parvatasana is a full body stretch that is good for the whole body. It is also a partial inversion, which is beneficial for circulatory system as well as for the endocrine system. It tones the abdominal muscles, opens the shoulder, and can help regulate problems with the menstrual cycle. However, you should not do this pose for an extended period of time during the main flows of your period. The next pose is legs up with wall support. Do this pose at a clear space of wall where you have room to take your legs straight up the wall without bumping into anything. Before you start, put on warm clothes, socks, and have a blanket handy which you can pull over yourself once you get into the pose. Place your yoga mat lengthwise to the wall. Option: place a folded blanket onto your mat next to the wall. This can be helpful if your hamstrings are tight or if your low back is uncomfortable in the pose. Don't do this pose if you're on your period. Movement: start by lying down or sitting sideways to the wall with your right hip just next to the wall and your knees bent. Lean back and take some weight onto your hands. You might even come down onto your elbows. Next, you will need to swing your legs up the wall so that your buttocks ends fairly close to the wall. The actual best distance from the wall depends partly on your hamstring flexibility. If your hamstrings are tight, place the folded blanket on the mat next to the wall and sit on the blanket to start, or take the buttocks a little further from the wall. You can keep the legs a few inches apart on the wall, or try varying the leg position by taking them wider apart or taking the soles of the feet together. The hands can rest on the low belly or on either side of you, about 12 inches away from the body, with the palm facing up towards the ceiling. This is the resting pose, so make yourself as comfortable as possible. Take care not to get chilled as you are resting. This is a very important fertility pose, so don't give up. We recommend you stay in this pose for at least 5 minutes if you can. When you get ready to come out of the pose, draw the knees into the chest and roll on to your right side with your knees bent. Rest of your few breaths before using both hands to press up to the seated position. The benefits: you may feel like you're doing nothing once you get into this pose, but this pose is one of the most powerful fertility supporting yoga poses that you can practice. The abdominal organs are nourished and revitalized when the blood from the feet and legs pool into your lower abdomen. Toxins are removed from the bloodstreams as the blood flows into the lymph glands in the groin. The central nervous system is calmed and the endocrine system is regulated. It is a great pose to do just before bedtime as it promotes restful sleep. This pose can be done during every part of the cycle except when you're menstruating. However, it is a useful pose if you're trying to get your period to start or if you're having irregular cycles. So I hope you have enjoyed this video. To know more about fertility yoga, you can contact us at Aikya Fertility Research Center, Bangalore. Thank you.